Alright, hello everyone, and today I want to make a video called Cursed Speech. So I want to talk about the idea of either cursed speech or blessed speech. And I get the inspiration from a certain character in an anime I like a lot called JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen. A character called Inumaki who has actually a technique where he can make other people do action or create circumstances through the power of his voice, like send people flying and make them stop, make them move, and make them do certain actions. And I just want to exemplify that character, kind of create this image of really the power of our speech, the power of our words, and understanding that our tongue, our speech is like a sword, and it's a powerful tool of transformation for us and for others, a powerful tool of transformation, of influence, with the ability to cause us to do certain actions or to make other people do certain actions. And if we understand its power and how to wield it, it can become either a very efficient tool, and it's also a tool that some people unfortunately use it for purposes of manipulation in a negative sense, if you can say. And well, basically, I just want to enlighten in ways that we can actually use it for, in a positive sense, for ourselves and others. When you think about words, think about speeches, rappers with their ability to form words, different words, rhymes to influence a powerful emotion in people. Think about football in the NFL, or just in motivational speeches on YouTube about certain football players that are, calling their team to rise up to the occasion, when it's the halftime and they're losing and things like that. You'd see this ability to inspire teams, in movies, the ability of words to inspire morals of armies that are fallen down, that are only seeing despair and turning that despair into hope. You can see speeches, I have a dream, Martin Luther King, this ability to start movements and inspire people to the why, to get a why, a reason to start taking different kind of actions to change the status quo. And words also have abilities to ruin entire reputations in the split seconds. Your reputation represents reputations of others, toppling down entire empires. Now I'm thinking about what's going on with, Mr. Beast and the guy who recently posted 2 videos where, through the words, through his presentation, he's really starting to point at gaps in a certain person's, a certain YouTuber's whole persona, and you see how this video has the power in almost a month to completely change an entire world's idea and perception of other person, or even the whole Drake versus the Kendrick Lamar beef. How how suddenly somebody who was at the top could be brought so low, just through the ability of word, of verses, of storytelling. So this is all this, the power of words. I even remember when we were talking about lies, I remember this book that was read in English class about the idea that a lie can go around the earth 5 times or many different times before the truth even have time to put on his shoes. So it's talk about the ability of our words, of the responsibility of it, to wield them for good usage. Now that's what we were thinking about. We're talking about a weapon that we're using consciously or unconsciously, hurting our lives and other people with it sometimes. Most of the time, this is what people do actually, when instead we should be using them to speak into life, into reality, to a reality that we want to see manifest in us or in ourselves. Psalm 33:9. For he spoke and it came to be. He commanded and it stood firm. Talking about God, our Father, and as sons, we're called to walk into that reality where our words have the ability to cause things to come into existence. But then there's the verse in James that says that a perfect man has perfect control of his tongue. I'm paraphrasing. Basically, this idea is as this responsibility of mastering our tongue is a responsibility of sonship, of growing up, of not only letting what's in our heart just blurt out, but efficiently using it. there's Jordan Peterson that often talks about one of the strongest abilities about the ability to be articulate, to speak, to be able to communicate a message, because truly it's a weapon that can be used really in all kind of different ways. And right out to media, books, how many of the things that we do to listen to right now, in this economy of attention, are words being used as weapons to change the way that certain people act. So when talking about manifesting reality for ourselves or for others, I think about a friend of mine who had a daughter. She realized that her daughter often used to speak negatively about herself, about her body, saying that she doesn't like who she sees in the mirror. And what God had told her, basically, the mother, for her child, it's for the mother to start speaking. How does she want her daughter to think about her body, and just start speaking it, saying, my daughter loves her body, my daughter thinks about this about her body. She kind of changed the tune. It was one point she was doing it, then she was doing it and wondering, God, is it actually working? Is there any fruit of this? Kind of like you're doing stuff, but you're doing it and wondering, is it even working? Right? Kind of feel like you're talking to empty. But then what happened is, as she was in a Zoom video call with her daughter, this is what my friend heard her daughter say, is this following: I like who I see in the mirror, or something similar in that vein. This idea that now when she was looking in the mirror, she actually liked what she saw. She wasn't thinking about herself too fat or too not liking her body. And that became the fruit of the discipline of just speaking the truth, of speaking the unseen reality that she wanted to see manifest. And this is the power that we have. Because often instead we'll use those words to kind of see the facts and not take from the truth within and manifest a new set of facts. But what we'll do is we'll see the facts, and then we might end up just, complain. Maybe it starts with just stating the facts, and then emotion starting, and then we start like an ending CD, a loop. We start complaining, and I'm not realizing maybe we're causing actually more trouble with our words, not aware. Instead of saying, okay, this is maybe the fact, but what is the truth that I want to see in another person? And when you look at the power of words, there's a scientist called Masaru Emoto who really, I believe, exemplified through his research the verse Proverbs 18:21 that says, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Masaru Emoto was a Japanese water scientist who had done ample research on how human consciousness influenced the shape of water molecules, human consciousness, and even speech. There's a documentary called Dr. Masaru Emoto, Hado Water Crystals, showcasing the influence of our words, thoughts, and emotions on water. Basically how different emotions affected water molecules for better or worse. Love and gratitude were two of the highest emotions that positively interacted with the water molecules, giving them beautiful crystalline structures like beautiful snowflakes. Water would possess, those molecules of waters would even possess healthier properties compared to other water molecules or water samples that were exposed to words like, I hate you, you make me sick constantly, or other negative emotions over a long period of time, or over a certain period of time. The crystalline forms of those water molecules under negative emotions and speech on negative words, they were outright deformed and lacked any coherent geometry. You can go and look up Dr. Masaru Emoto, water molecules, and you'll probably see pictures of the different words. I hate you, I love you, and the different forms, the beautiful crystalline forms, and the deformed water molecules. So you see that scripture wasn't just being metaphorical when it spoke. Life and death literally is in the power of our words. God used speech. Think about it. God used speech to create the world. The world was created by the word, by a vibration, by frequency. And us as vibrational beings, we're always emitting a certain frequency around us. We're affecting change and being affected. So it's a reason, decisions that we need to take to change intentionally the words that we speak. If we want to change ourselves, our body, because we're 70% water, we're affecting ourselves constantly, daily, by the words that we speak, living in, whether it's abundance of poverty or words of health or unhealth. And a good way to know, what are our beliefs, because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Basically, our beliefs is the lens that will project the reality that we live in. For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Luke 6:45. When you look at yourself, speak. Often unconsciously, automatically, when you're triggered, when there's no time for your head to filter what you're going to say. This is what you can see what is abundantly in your heart, what you're dieting from, what you're eating, feeding from. The love, the peace, or the hate, the division, the perception of lack that you have about your own body, the negative aspects of yourself. A tongue basically is a good tool of measure to help you become aware of the thoughts and the beliefs that you have, so you can now start changing them and put a new CD, you remove the old CD and you put a new one and start speaking it, which at first it may be uncomfortable. Your mind might be finding it, no, that's not me, but eventually you get more and more used to, and it's this idea of being able to, one, spot what are your belief systems and then decide, okay, I want to put a new one in. So it's a good thing to observe and perhaps choose to intentionally change the belief to align into that might be more beneficial to you, and create a more functional life, more healthy life, more wholeness in your life. So yeah, that's basically all for today. Cursed speech. Are we going to talk cursed or blessings? Talk in a way that actually help us live in those greater realms of vibration, or those lower realms of hate, anger, division, fear, or hope, peace, joy. So this is a tool that before we change the outside, that we can change from the inside. And more as you do this, as you start seeing change, you grow in faith and you realize, wow, I was much more powerful than I actually realized. But I was letting the outside influence me so much. So yeah, this is something powerful that I'm even applying in my whole life, and just realizing, just catching myself when I see a situation that I don't want, and I'm in my thoughts, I don't want this to happen, I don't want this to, and then choose, okay, no, I'm going to speak it into life. So, okay, all for today. Thank you for watching this video and have a blessed week. And yes, let's keep growing and using the tools that God has given us to effect positive change in our minds and in our lives. Peace.